Hi, this is Cheryl St.Pierre, and this is a Beebeecraft video, and we are going to make these very stunning sweetheart earrings, and they're made with the little Beebeecraft hearts I got in my last package. So for supplies, or tools rather, you're going to need a ruler that has metric and inches. You know, you can do it all metric if you wanted, but if you're mainly an inch user, you need the metric for a couple of measurements in this video for sure. You're going to need your chain nose pliers, your round nose pliers, and your snips or flush cutters. You will also need your ear wires of choice, and yes, then the beads. For supplies, you are going to begin with these Beebeecraft 6mm glass hearts. They say they're imitation jade. They're a wonderful color, and they match the beads, the rondelle beads and bicones I have perfectly. Like, it's an exact color match. So what you will need is 2 of the hearts, 8 3mm rondelle beads, and 2 4mm bicone beads. And you'll also need 20 gauge wire, which is 0.8mm wire approximately, and you will need 2 7-inch pieces. I'll have metric in the description, as well as 2 4.5-inch pieces. And so what we'll do is we're going to start with making 2 of the top components. I have one ahead of time made. We're going to start with these, and the beads that are in these are 2 of the 3mm rondelles and 1 4mm bicone in the middle. And so you're going to need to take your 4.5-inch piece of copper, and we're going to make an eye pin first out of it. So we're just going to take our round nose pliers and make a loop. So right now it's a P loop, and in order to make it an I loop, you just put your round nose pliers in like that, and you just push it over so that it's centered, and then it's an eye pin. And then the next thing you're going to do is I've just got to quickly grab another bicone. Oh, okay, there it is. And put a rondelle on, a bicone on, and a rondelle. Okay, and we want the bottom loop to be facing like this. It doesn't matter if the opening's at the front or the back, because you don't see it at all. But the next thing you're going to do is I'm going to use my round nose pliers in the center part to make to bend it for the loop, and we want it to have opposite direction of the loops. So I'm going to put this flat this way right now, just to push forward this wire like that in order to get it ready to make the loop. And see, and I've given it this space. That's why I chose the center, because I wanted some ample space to do a wrap and then do the design work. So now I'm just going to make my favorite size of loop for earrings. Trying to stay in the camera there, sorry. Okay, and now I'm going to wrap it around one complete cycle like that. My going out of focus. Okay. And I'm actually going to go, yes, I'm going to go underneath one more time. So it's 1.5 times. And next, I'm going to go make it a round frame. So it's kind of suggestive of a heart. I don't know if you noticed that before, but I'm trying to make the wire work suggestive of hearts, so it's not complete. And now I'm going to wrap just around here one time. And if your circles aren't quite perpendicular to each other, that's adjustable. We can do that later. And now head back up like that. It is more of an oval, but I'm just trying to get a hint of that heart. That's why we're going to go behind, and then we're going to wrap. We want it to be fairly similar in shape, and you want to make both of them fairly similar in shape as well. So now I'm just going to go wrap around once, and then I'm going to snip it in the back and just crimp it down. Gotta be careful not to cut the wires you don't want to cut. And I'm just gonna crimp it in a little bit, just so there's no sharp pokes anywhere. And there, that's done. So it kind of has a heart. It's hard to see, but I've just been, that's what the aim was. Okay, so at this point, this top circle moved on us, and yours might too. It's pretty typical. You just make it straight. You want this to be the front, and you want the top loop to go this way. And then this is gonna, bottom one's gonna move on you too, and we want it to go front to back. And then that piece is done. And I better check my other one to see if it worked out that way too. That's the back, that's the front. It looks pretty straightforward. And there it is. Okay, so they match pretty good. Okay, so that's done. And you can go ahead and make yours. And then the next step is to take, we're going to make one at a time. They are going to be mirrored, but it's, we just have to work our best at making them similar, because doing them separate and stopping in between will stop your flow of artistry with this. And we just have to try our best to make them very similar. Okay, so what I want you to do is take your ruler and measure 2.5 inches. And I'll have them, I'm going to measure 2.5 inches, and then I'll measure it metric so that you have it here. So 2.5 inches, and give it a bend, 90-degree angle. And 2.5 inches is about 6 centimeters. It's a tiny bit more than 6 centimeters, but it doesn't matter. You can do it exactly 6 centimeters. And now we're going to make a loop. This is the length that the beads are going to go on. And the loop is going to be made with the long part of the wire. So now I'm going to go and make a loop. Again, my favorite loop size. And we're going to wrap it around 3 times, as neat as we possibly can. Now, this is just a regular loop and wrap. The next one we will do reversed, because we want it to go opposite directions. So that's once. And you want to try and make it as neat as possible. That's twice. And 3 times. Okay, and again, we're going to do the artistry of the wire to be heart. Try and make it heart shaped, and I'm just straightening this wire, because we do want it to be straight. And then what beads are going to go on there, so it's going to be work hardened. Okay, so now I'm going to do this part while I have no beads on it, so I don't have to fight with it. I'm going to do kind of like a circle like that. And we're going to stop about that point. And that's when we put on the beads. And we're just taking 2 rondelles, 2 3mm rondelles. Now I chose 3mm rondelles because the hearts are so tiny. I don't think it would look as nice if we did it with 4x2mm. So I think these are, they just call them 3mm, so I'm not sure if they are 3x3 or 3x1.5 or 3x2. I don't know. They don't tell you. So the next thing I'm going to do is we are, like I said, it's suggestive of a heart. So half of a heart. So see how that looks like a heart? Or half a heart. So I'm going to go like that. I'm holding the beads in place, supporting the heart, and I'm just then now going to wrap once around, not quite once. I want it to go, the wire to go straight up like that. So it's just so that you can see it's just going around, really not a full circle, but just about a circle. There. And now I'm going to put on the little heart. And this gets a little tricky, and it is hard on the fingers because it is such tiny work. So the pressure on your fingertips is quite strong. So the next goal is to make, kind of continue this line, but we're going to kind of circle back. And that's going to, you know, just make it kind of like a extended wire, and it's going to hold the heart in place. So we kind of want it to be like a half circle going this way, like that. See how it continued that heart, half heart, and now it's swirling back. And now I'm going to hold the bead in place as best I can and support that wire there too. And then we're going to wrap completely around this wire, and this will tend to move on you, and it's very hard on the fingers. Okay, so we're like that. I went completely around. That was a full circle. And it actually did stay pretty good for me, but sometimes you have to take and give it a twist back because it's swiveled on you. So if it is swiveled, then you just put a thumb on that and put a thumb on that and just give it a twist until it is sitting right. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now, because this wire is facing that way, we're going to push this wire that way as well. And we're going to try and make a cute little loop at the bottom with the 2 wires. So this is kind of like finger swirling. Like that. Now this is where it'll be important to make the loops very similar between both earrings. So if you wanted to, you could stop at this point, get the other earring caught up, and so that your loops were similar, because it's easier to figure that out. I'm going to go ahead and make this and then make my other one, and I want to make sure this is sitting forward, so I'm pushing it, adjusting it, so it's all sitting flat and pretty. Okay, so then the next step is you're going to need, I didn't mention what tools you need. I'm sorry. It's the regular, I'll actually do that at the cutoff just before the beads, because yeah, that's important. So this is why we want the metric on our ruler, is we want a 1 centimeter measurement from the edge of that top of the loop. So 1 centimeter, which is 10 millimeters. So right there at that 1 centimeter, I'm going to snip it off. There we go. And now, this time, I usually use chain nose pliers for this, and this time I've chosen to use round nose pliers. I'm going to make the loops a little bit bigger. With the chain nose, I can make them smaller, but I'm going to make them round, and I'm going to take the tip of my round nose pliers. So it's good to have fine round nose pliers for this. And I'm going to make a loop and try and make it kind of bend a slight bit there. If it didn't quite do it for you there, we can add more swirl later. I flipped it upside down to do we're going to make the bottom wire go down. And there, that's done. Okay, and now I'm going to make the second one, just flatten it, kind of bent a little bit. Just going to straighten it out. And it's ready to hang on to the second, or the first part of the earrings. Now I'm going to take my second wire, bend it at 2.5 inches again, which was 6 centimeters. The 45 degree or 90 degree angle. We're going to use the longer portion to make the loop. We're making a backwards loop this time. And when you do backwards, normally you put the wire on the left-hand side. We're going with it on the right-hand side. And flip it around. I'm going to wrap 3 times. So that's once, twice, and it's not as tight as I want, so I'm going to squish that in. And it's a good thing that was round nose pliers because it won't mar it. Straighten it out. Okay, now I'm going to make that loop, and then this one we need to kind of match the size with the other one. Okay, so I'm going to just bend it a little bit more right there. Okay, and now I'll put my 2 rondelles on. Make my half a heart. Now it seems a little flat to me there. I want to bend that back a little bit and kind of bend this wire here, tease it a bit. But now I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on it. There, now I'm more happy with that. Wrap it around 3/4 of the way so it goes straight up. Okay, and now I'm putting the heart on. Okay, and then kind of do that swirl. Support it, wrap it around, complete wrap. So this time it's going to the left instead of the right. And I'm just going to cinch it up a little bit. It's spreading apart a little bit. My last one didn't do that, but sometimes it does. So I'm just pressure, and it's lifted up there. So now I'm just going to twist it so it sits flat and nice. hoping this, for some reason I'm going out of focus a lot tonight. Okay, and now I'm going to bend this wire to match that direction, both to the left, and make a little loop, hopefully the same size as my last one. Let's give a comparison. I think it's a little bit bigger. I'm going to tighten it up a little tiny bit. I think that's good. And it looks very similar. Well, now it looks smaller, so now I'm going to push it out and make it a little bit bigger. Okay, I think that's good. Now I'm going to cut it down to 1 centimeter. Which is about there. Take my round nose pliers and do my loops. I'm going to start with the bottom first this time, just because I'm right-handed. So this I did from the back, the top one this time. Just the opposite of last time. Just gonna flatten that a little bit. And let's see if the swirls are fairly similar. I think I've got to bend this up a little bit, just to make it match. Give it a little more curl. And there they are. Okay. Now I think I might have made this wire a little bit longer than this one. So I'm going to try curling it a tiny bit more, because then it gives it illusion of being shorter. And there. I think that fixed it up rather nicely. Okay, so now I'm going to put them all together and put on my ear wires. Close that up nice, make sure it's straight. And then you always need to check to make sure it hangs right. Okay. And do the same for the next one. Didn't bend it open enough. Okay. Close the loop. Make sure it's straight. I've also got to make sure that it's facing forward, and it is. Okay, next thing is the ear wires. Sitting right, a little bit off. There we go. I think that's what it was. Always do your checks. There, that one's hanging nice. Well, okay. Actually, now that I look at it, I do have that top element backwards. We're going to quickly fix that. So that means I need to do it twice. Right. Okay. And there they are. All done. Well, thank you for joining me in this video. And I hope you really enjoyed it. Please like and comment. Every comment I get really helps me. I appreciate it. Thank you. God bless. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.